Hi, this is Survivor and Scrappy Mania, and today we're going to discuss about the different clays out there, and I'm going to show you my homemade, I made this homemade cold porcelain, and I'm just going to show you how they came out, and they came out very nice, and I'm also going to show you how to create this flower, and some tips for using your cold porcelain, your homemade clay with like a silicone mold. So first of all, the cold porcelain, and I do have a video, I'll put the video at the bottom of how to make this cold porcelain. The cold porcelain is very cheap to make, and I do like the consistency, and I'll show you the different consistency of the other clays that I have. And they dry very hard. They dry just like resin. Look at that. And you can color it. I use some of my nail polish to put a little bit of glitter on these and give it a little shine. And so yeah, this one has a little glitter and how it shines. You can also use a varnish, will be very nice with this, and you can color it with any color you want. One of the things, you can color it with your chalk, so any dry kind of color medium you can put in this. You can color it with your acrylic paint. Now I'll be cautious with buying too much liquid acrylic paint or watercolor. You don't want to use watercolor with this. I do have these pods that I bought some time ago, and they're not all, they're very thick, and they're not very watery. And these work great for coloring this. I will also buy little tubes. So if you have little tubes like this, these painter's tube, I got this a long time ago, and this is watercolor, but it really has a lot of intense color. These you can use. So I will use these kind of tubes to color my clay. They work very well. And you can also buy these tubes like that with acrylic. They're very thick. Those are very good too. What you don't want to do is use anything that has a lot of moisture or a lot of water in it to color your clay, because then you're going to disintegrate it a little bit. Okay? And then, so like I said, they're kind of hard like resins. You can mold them. You can sculpt them with your hand. You can even make little figurines. They work very nice. And then this is the Martha Stewart clay. And see, these are a little different. They're more flexible. See how flexible they are? These are not flexible at all. These are just like resin. So that's the difference between the air dried clay that you make with cold porcelain. So this is air dry. You don't have to bake it. And then the air clay made for Martha Stewart. And this is a paper based clay. They're more flexible, and it's very light. And they take the impressions very well. Okay. Then the clay that you buy, this is baked clay. So this is katopoly clay. They're also different. They're hard just like your air dry clay. They're very hard. They're not flexible. The only thing is you have to be careful. They do burn if you're not careful on the temperature that you put these on. And they're kind of nice too, but the only thing with these, they're very hard. You really have to soften it, so you have to knead it in order to make it nice and soft. You do need a pasta machine. Well, it's not a requirement, but it makes it a lot easier to knead these and soften these up. Okay. The advantage about this clay is that I can leave it out like this, and it will never dry until I bake it. So that's the advantage of these. These will dry because they're air dry clay, so you really have to protect it and put it in a container. And this will also dry. You really have to protect it and put it in a container. Now, there's another type of clay, if you're going to buy it, air dry clay. They do have the Crayola one. And if you notice the texture of the Crayola one, see, it kind of breaks apart, and then you got to knead it, and then it works pretty well, but it's not the same consistency. So see, the consistency is kind of like not very smooth, okay, and it's like chunky kind of. Now, if you look at the consistency of the Martha Stewart clay, I really like this consistency. See how it just breaks And it's just nice. It's just nice consistency. It really works very nice. Now let's look at the consistency of the porcelain clay. And if you follow the recipe that I have on my channel, I did show you how to make it, and I do have a video on my channel. Then you can, let me make sure. And these you got to make sure you close it very well, because if you don't close the container and any air goes in there, it'll go ahead and make your clay hard and make it useless. Okay, so let's look at the consistency of this one. And I put it on a saran wrap. This one has 5 days since I made it, and it's still very nice. And see the consistency of this one, and look how nice it is. Because I use olive oil, and I use lemon instead of vinegar, it has a nice odor. It doesn't smell. And I was reading on some places that if you use vinegar, you'll have that vinegary smell. So let me close it up. And for this clay, what I like to do is I like to take like a damp. So one of the things you can use, spray a little bit of water on a damp towel, and then you can put your clay on top of that. And that will keep it moist without the fear of it drying out on you. You can use nice tools. Like I got these tools at Michael's in the children area for clay. So you can buy a lot of these tools, and they help with shaping and things like that. And then you're also going to need some scissors. So I'm going to show you how to create this rose. So you're going to need some scissors to make it nice and flat at the bottom. And I also will show you how to do this. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to really tell you how to use these clays with a mold. Now I made molds. If you follow my video, I did show you how I created some molds here. And let me get one of my other molds. Sorry, I wasn't prepared. Okay, so let's see this camera mold. I made this mold out of silicone and some talc. So in order to use this mold, which I didn't tell you on the video, you need to use some kind of cream, like Vaseline. That's a little Vaseline that I put there. I didn't want to have the big jar, so I took a little bit and put in a smaller jar. And make sure you really put Vaseline on your mold, especially with the porcelain clay. And then you're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to do here, put a little Vaseline, not a lot. Little Vaseline on your molds. And remember, I did show you how if you put too much Vaseline on your molds, sometimes your image is not as crisp. Okay, so that looks very good. See how it's not a lot? And then let's go ahead and take my porcelain clay. And let's do the small one first. Okay, you put it on here. And then if you have a tool, any kind of like rolling tool, you just roll out the excess like that. Okay. And then I will leave it here to dry a little bit before I pop it out. But see how it just pops up very nicely because I use Vaseline. But I will let it dry so that way you don't distort it. But see? So that's the trick with Vaseline. So if you're going to use this clay with molds, don't forget the Vaseline. So now let me do a camera. And then I'll make it white because then I can go ahead and color it anything I want. Once I get it out, it pops out. I can use markers to kind of color this camera. So, oh, and I forgot to tell you, this will dry if you don't put color. Now, this clay does not have any color in it. If you do not put color, like some of the recipes, you can put some white acrylic paint in it to make it white. It will dry translucent, kind of like an off-white color. It doesn't dry all the way white. There'll be a little bit of transparency, a little bit of just off-white color, which is fine because this you can paint in and stuff. Now let me show you how to change the color. So here, I'm gonna leave it in here. I'm not gonna pop it up, but you can see how easy it's gonna pop. I'm gonna leave it here to let it dry a little bit, so that way my image will be nice and crisp and it will not get distorted. And see how it has some excess? Again, you can, if you want, you can take out the excess. I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay. So now, let me show you how to color this. Okay. You can use it like it is, but let's go ahead and color. And let me go ahead and use, I already got yellow. Let's see what color I have. Let's try a violet color. Okay. Oops. This was very watery. So we can use a little bit of that, but not that much. So let me just use, and usually I like to use a little bit of a toothpick, and you just put the color in it. Ideally I would use a different kind of paint, but we'll use this one and just knead it. Oops, I'm making a mess with this pot. Let me close it. Now that's what I chose, so but I'll try, you will use a less liquidy paint to do this. It will work, it's a little more sticky now that I use that liquid paint. See how it's sticky? So for that, you're going to take some more of Vaseline. So if the only kind of paint you have is a paint that is more liquid, just put some Vaseline on your hands and then knead the dough. That will prevent it from sticking to your hands. And just knead it, like you see here. And I notice when you use acrylic paint, it does make it a little more stickier than if I would have used chalk. Chalk does it does work very nice. It's just you need a lot of chalk to kind of give it. If you want bright colors, the chalk you're going to need a lot of that. So. Okay, I think I have what I want. Now I'm going to break a piece, put this under my damp napkins, and let's go ahead and show you how to create that flower. So how I create it, first thing I do is kind of make a roll. And I'm going to make it out of 5. I'll do 5 petals. And then I take something and I just just so my petals will be even. And just cut it. I mean, they're kind of even, not completely even. And then you make round bowls for this. Like I'm doing here. Okay, so I'll take the smallest one. I'm going to use that to be my center. So you're going to just flatten it out. Okay, you're going to roughed a little bit the edges like I'm doing there. So I'm giving a little bit of a ruffle. And then I'm going to twirl it like that. So there's my bud. Okay. Then I'm going to take the next little ball of clay, and I'm going to flatten it out, and I'm going to flatten out the top to make it a little thinner like that. And then I'm just going to give it a little bit of character by pinching the edges and kind of roughing it up a little. Like that. Ruffle it up a little bit. And that's going to be my next petal. Okay, see. Then I'm going to go and get the next one. Ruffle it up a little. Like that. And then I'm just going to drape it at the bottom. Just drape it and let it fall. Let it kind of hang out. Like that. Okay. Next one. And just drape. You want it to have it kind of that open feel. Next petal. And then just drape it. And then my next petal. You're just going to drape it here. And there's my rose. And then I take a pair of scissors so that way it will fit flat, and cut that little cone off. And I'll place it on here to dry. So that's how you make a nice little rose, just like what I show you there. They're all going to be unique and different. Now I'm going to show you how to create like this kind of flower. These are very simple. You do the same thing. And I'm going to make a small one. You roll it out in a roll, and then you cut 5 pieces. Got 5 pieces. And then you're just going to take each of the pieces and you're going to roll it in a bowl. Okay, once you roll it in a bowl, then you're going to roll it in a cone shape. So that means you're just going to roll the bottom piece. See how it rolls in a cone shape? Just take it and roll it in a cone shape like that. So you're going to take each of these and roll them in a cone shape. Okay, and now that I have all my pieces in a cone shape, then I'm just going to flatten it. This flower is very simple to do. So now I have petals, and then just put them together. Got one there. Just put one on top of the other, touching in the center. Let me do it out here so I can see it better. So you're just going to put them together. And you can even use your tool to kind of help blend it in a little bit. See how it blends in? And you're going to put something on top of the center. Either you can put a rhinestone, or you can put a dewdrop, will be very nice in here for the center. An enamel dot will also work nicely. And once you have it there, then you want to go ahead and smooth it out, the edges, like that. And then you can take something that with a little bit of a point. You can also use a toothpick, and you just go and put a mark in the center, like I had there. And actually a toothpick works better, because that's what I use for these. Okay. And there you have. Oops. I should not. Usually I make them and I leave them on the surface of my mat, and then I don't really pick it up. I let it dry like that. So let's see if I can get a spatula. And there's your flower, and just let it dry, and it will dry nice and hard. Okay. This one don't want to cooperate, but it will, because it will. See, this one I did the same way, and it's nice and hard. It doesn't come off. So just let it dry. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create a hydrangea with this. So I'm going to small little bowl of clay, and I'm going to form a teardrop with this clay. So there's my teardrop, and then you're going to take a pair of scissors, and let me see if I find my nice delicate scissors. Well, we'll use this one. You take a pair of scissors, and you're going to cut in the middle, and then you're going to cut in the middle of each of those petals. So you get 4. Then you're going to use your some type of tool, clay tool. You can use anything, and you're going anything that's rounded, and you're going to roll out the petals like you see here. See how I roll out the petals? You're going to roll out the petals. Roll out the petals. And because it's a little sticky, so I'm going to put my clay tool. Because I put that acrylic paint, that's a little more watery. That's why it's a little sticky, but you can fix that by putting your clay tool in a little bit of Vaseline. and just shape it. And I like it with a little bit of that texture. So see how it gives it a little texture with this Martha Stewart clay tool. So I like that texture. So I'm going to put that back in the leaves. Not the prettiest, but it'll work. I'm following the instruction of the Martha Stewart guide. So it says to kind of play with your petals. And then I'm going to use these stamen that I bought at Michael's. So you're going to make a little hole in the middle. I'm going to put these in here. Okay, maybe a little lower. And then you can cut the bottom piece off. And then let it dry. And there's my kind of flower. It'll look cute in a bouquet, using all these in a bouquet of flowers. And that's all that I have for this air dry clay. So this is in courtesy for a viewer. One of my viewers wanted to see how it turned out. So this is how they turned out. They turned out very nice. I really, really like this clay. It's very easy to do. And I like that it's hard. It's nice and hard. And it's lightweight. It's not heavy. This one's a little heavy. The polymer clay is a little heavier than this one. It's a little more lightweight. Then this one is also nice. This is the Martha Stewart clay. It's a lot lightweight and it's flexible. The thing is with this one, it curls a little bit. It's flexible. So I hope you like this tutorial, and thank you for watching. Bye now.